What's going on, guys? Boii here, bringing you a Paradox Wave walkthrough. With this video is basically to help anybody out that's still struggling with this raid. Alright, so basically how this raid works out is you have one main boss and 4 sub bosses. Your goal is basically to close each of the 4 tunnels that are in this raid. Now, if you're a more experienced group, by all means you want to leave a tunnel open. But if you do leave a tunnel open, you end up fighting that sub boss with the main boss at the end. So if you're fresh to this raid, group's still struggling, I would highly recommend closing all 4 tunnels. Now in this tunnel right here that you're seeing is the Paradox Ravager. This guy's located in the back or right. As soon as you enter, the other 3 sub bosses are the Warrior, Sentry, and the Oppressor. Now the Warrior being in the front left, Sentry in the back right, not the back right, the back left, the Oppressor in the front right, and the Ravager in the back right. Now with this boss, the main mechanic of this boss is that he actually heals himself. So as a controller, you want to always carry your healing debuff or communicate with your other controller of who debuffs and who's the guy throwing POT and stuff like that. Also what his attacks is, he basically has a charge move. That's his only main attack really. He charges pretty quick though, so doesn't have like a real tell of when he charges. He just charges. Also he has like a little swipe or whatever you call it, like a spit move swipe that throws like a block breaker at the tank, I guess. It hits very hard if you're not the tank. It's like in the high 4,000s or the low 5,000s. Also as a DPS, be careful using your cast time moves, Tachyon Blast, Fire Burst, Frost Blast, whatever it is that you're using has a cast time. Be careful using those, because like I said before, he charges pretty quickly. So I would highly recommend, once you see him charge, just press X and just jump out of it, and save your life right there. People don't have to pick you up. Another thing to know is that when you fight these sub bosses inside their tunnels, they spawn ads. Now they spawn ads at 75, 50, and 25% health. So if it's a tank, once you see that 75 or 50%, 25% mark, just prepare to grab aggro with the ads. As you can see right there, 3 people got taken out by the charge. As a troll, you got to pick people up. That's one thing I love about Quantum though, that Quantum tunneling, picking people up is very nice, comes in handy. Now all sub bosses have been soft enrage. That's one thing I forgot to mention. With this boss, he didn't enrage on us, but the tell for his soft enrage is that he takes his 2 arms and sticks them in the ground and sort of leans forward and starts shooting single target beams. So when you see him start shooting single target beams at people, that means he's starting to enrage, which is a one shot, regardless of role, tank, blocking or not blocking. He's going to throw one shots out at people. Now when that person does get one shotted, he's going to have like a little flame around him. I wouldn't recommend picking that person up unless you have to, just because you'll end up getting one shot as well. Not from the boss, but the little flames around that body. Damn, that boss fight went by fast. But the way that enrage works, supposedly, this is going by what I heard on the forums or different people I played with. If he heals himself too many times on the fountains, that he will eventually enrage. So my advice to you as a tank would be to kite the boss up and down the Speed Force tunnel so he doesn't heal himself too many times through the fountains that he has spawned. Alright, so right here we have the Paradox Sentry. This boss fight can be pretty lengthy just because of the fact he randomly spawns a shield while you're fighting him. So to take down the shield, he spawns 4 orbs, 2 in the back of the tunnel and 2 orbs near the, the orb fountains. It's just gonna be like blue looking fountains, and 2 orbs spawn right there. So when you're hitting this boss and you start seeing ticks of 1, that's when you need to stop hitting him and start running to the orb spawns, just so you can take his shield down and get back to burning him. Now he has 2 other moves. One is a spit move and one is like a pounce move. Now a spit move is almost a one shot. Like I said before, it hits in the high 4,000s, low 5,000s. Sometimes it one shots you, sometimes it doesn't. It'll be like 5 little yellow starlight things that comes out of his mouth. Now usually he sprays at the tank, so if you're not the tank, it should never be boss you tank. So make sure you position yourself to where it's you boss tank. Alright. Now his pounce move. Basically what he does, he just pounces on one particular person. He jumps towards them, and you have about 2 seconds to get away from him. Because if you don't get away in those 2 seconds, he will start walking in place. Some people call it the moonwalk. Some people, I don't know what they call it, but he just starts pouncing in place, and that will one-shot you. Alright? So my advice to you would be to get the hell out of there once he starts pouncing on you. As you can see when the ad spawn, I like to throw Singularity, just because it's a nice crowd control move. What it does is, when I throw it, it brings in all the ads together in one spot, and also juggles them a little bit, so when they're juggled, they're not damaging nobody. That was the spit move I was talking about. Took out 2 of our members. But yeah, Singularity is also a defense debuff as well. So therefore, that particular ad burns down faster. Another thing is, if you die, you can come back into this sub-boss fight. But if you die on the main boss of Tyrant, you can't come back into that fight. But for this sub-boss fight, when you die, there'll be a set of ads waiting for you at the beginning of the tunnel. Now, either you can go ahead and run right past them and bring the ads with you with the boss fight, or you can be patient and hug the left or the right wall depending on where the ads are in the tunnel. When you are hugging the wall, trying to sneak past the ads, you want to pay attention to your name in the top left corner. If you see it turn red for any reason, that means the ads have spotted you. Alright, so you need to go ahead and run back toward the beginning of that tunnel and go ahead and let the ads kill you. And try again. Now with this setup that we're running with 1 tank, 3 DPSs, 2 trolls, 2 heals. I've done this before with different combinations before. I've done it with 2 tanks, 2 DPSs, 2 trolls, 2 heals. Done it before with 4 DPSs, 1 heal, 2 trolls, 1 tank. It's different combinations you can choose from. You don't have to run with exactly what we're running with, but for starters, I would recommend this, or maybe just go to 2 tank method, 2 DPS method. Just the burn's gonna be a little bit slower. Alright. Now we have the Gerbal as our tank, Crystal and I as the trolls, Fighter, Electric Healer, Poly Nature Healer, and the DPS is 2 Heartlights and 1 Nature. Silver and Agnetta being the Heartlight DPSs, and Road King being the Nature DPS. Now you don't necessarily have to have these DPSs, but it's a pretty good combo that we have. We have a DOT DPS and 2 burst DPSs. It's always great to have a DPS with a 35% in your group. I mean, once you start communicating more with your group members and start learning the tells of the different bosses, this raid becomes a lot more easier. I find this raid a lot easier to run as a league or with people I know than Nexus. Pugging wise, I would find Nexus more easier to complete than Paradox. Now in each tunnel there's Batmans, I forgot to mention that. Also Lex Luthors for the villains. I'm not for sure which Lex Luthors are in each tunnel, but for the Batmans you have Primal in the Warrior tunnel, Steampunk in this tunnel right here, the Sentry, GCPD in the Ravager tunnel, and Ninja in the Oppressor tunnel. Now in this tunnel right here, Steampunk gives us a shield when he's alive, but he dies a lot in this fight. He has a rifle, but he melees with it for no reason. I don't understand, but GCPD is probably the most helpful when you're fighting the Ravager. He helps take down those healing fountains. Primal, he dies quite a bit as well. He's supposed to give you some type of crit buff, and Ninja, I believe, gives you another crit buff as well. But Steampunk and GCPD seem to be the most helpful Batmans. So not only do Batmans help you with that boss fight right there, but if you do kill that sub boss, they'll help you with the final boss fight. So it's always a benefit to have that extra buff, or you know, whatever they do with the shields from Steampunk and the buffs from Primal, stuff like that. It's always good to have with the final boss fight. Before this boss dies, let me go over this guy's Salt and Reach. So basically, the way it works supposedly, if you go so many phases without taking down this guy's shield, he'll start doing a series of instant one-shot pounces. So basically you don't have those 2 seconds to move out the way when he does pounces on you. He'll just kill you instantly. Some ways to avoid this is to start working your way up the tunnel, because he'll only do it for so long. He won't just keep on doing it. So just work your way up the tunnel, and take his shield down when it is up. Even if there's ads spawning, just try to do your best to take down the shields many times as you can. One thing I do notice about this boss is that when he's almost dead, he seems to spawn his shield quite a bit toward his death. So that's why I said before, it's always nice to have a DPS with a 35%er, just because he can burn down a little bit more faster when he's almost dead. There you have it. That is the Sentry boss fight. Like I said before, it's not that difficult, it's just pretty lengthy. As you can see, I don't edit the loot drops. I'd like to show you guys what loot drops in case you're looking for a specific piece. One thing to note, that the 85 bow does drop from the Sentry, so if you're looking for the bow, the Sentry drops it for you. Alright, so this boss right here is the Paradox Warrior. He's built similar to Meta from the Falls 2 series and Prime Battleground. So what his main attack is the one-shot fire electrically looking balls. He shoots them consistently throughout the fight. He'll look at somebody, then shoot. Now, ways to avoid this one-shot fireball is just to wait before he shoots it, then dodge it or roll out the way. Now, the further you are away from him, the more time you have to avoid this attack. So what I personally do is I just wait for the attack and use quantum tunneling most of the time. If not, my quantum tunneling is on cooldown. What I do is I just run in one direction when he's targeted on me, and as soon as he shoots, I just run the opposite direction. That's the curveballs that he shoots, because he telegraphs where you're gonna go. But if you are gonna do that, run in one direction, then run back in the other direction. Make sure you're not running toward your teammates in the first direction, because you're going to get your teammates killed, and you don't want that to happen. Make sure you run in a spot where nobody's at, then run back into another spot when you do that. As you can see, it's starting to become a pattern what I'm saying, dodging this, dodging that. This raid is basically a big old game of dodgeball, really, because so many one shots. It's just a big old game of dodgeball. So you have to be on your feet, just like when Prime was out. You have to be on your feet. You can't just stay in one spot. You got to be on your feet. Moving left and right and stuff like that. Alright, so right here is what I was talking about, of moving in one direction, then moving back the other direction when he shoots the balls. This is an example of what I was talking about. Alright, so that move right there is his inhale move. So what you want to do is you want to work your way up the tunnel to where you can't lock onto him. Because if you can't lock onto him, he can't lock onto you. So if he can't lock on you, he will not be able to do his stomp move, or whatever it is. Because once he does his stomp move, he will shoot a 180-degree cone of one-shot fireballs to your raid group. And I've seen it to where he wiped everybody in a raid. So you want to try to avoid that. So work your way up the tunnel once you see that inhale move to where you can't even lock onto him. Alright. And he does the inhale move at the 75, 50, and 25% health mark of his life bar. So you can pretty much time on when it's going to happen. Other than that, this boss fight is pretty simple. As you can see, this boss is burning up pretty quickly. ads from the front of the tunnel. It's not that big of a deal for our group, just because we're more experienced. But if your group is still struggling with this raid, like I said before, don't bring back ads. Especially where the boss's health is right now. You don't want to bring in ads and the tank ends up dying for some reason. Then the whole group wipes and then the boss resets. Where you could have just stayed at the beginning of the tunnel, had your group, killed the boss, and you still got loot. As you can see, he's doing the inhale move again. Right here is, he does the stomp move, but he doesn't hit anybody with it, so therefore our group got kind of lucky. He didn't shoot the 180-degree cone of one-shot fireballs. Oh, and the warrior's soften rage, I'm not really sure what it is. It's not his inhale move though. That's not his soften rage, the inhale move. But what I think it is, I think it's just a series of constant fireballs back to back to back to back. And that's what I think his soften rage is. But other than that, I don't think it's not really too hard of a boss. Nothing to really worry about. And this guy drops all 85 rings for all rolls. In this video, he drops the DPS ring. And he also drops the 85 brawling. I've seen him drop the 85 brawling before. And I can't remember any of the other loot that drops from this guy. But yeah, 85 brawling and the 85 rings I know for sure drop from the Paradox Warrior. Alright, so you're probably wondering why we're cutting straight to the Tyrant. Where's the Oppressor? That you said those 4 sub-bosses. Well, actually with this fight, me and my league like to do is leave the sub-boss out with the Tyrant. So this fight, we're leaving the Oppressor out. One, because he drops the 86 rifle and a few people in our group needs the 86 rifle. And 2, now this may be a myth, but hey, whatever, I believe in it. More 87 gear drops when you leave a sub boss up. Now, I've been in this raid plenty of times where I closed all 4 tunnels and I haven't seen one piece of 87 gear, but leaving the sub boss out, I say I've seen 4 more pieces of 87 gear while leaving the sub boss out in the final loot. Alright, in this final fight, you're going to be seeing 2 phases. A pillar phase and a jail phase. Right now is the pillar phase. So basically in this pillar phase right here, you just got to destroy these 4 pillars in a room. They take 1 damage, so take a little while to burn down, not too many. But one thing to note here is that these pillars spawn these paradox energies, and these paradox energies actually heal the boss. So when you see a paradox energy spawn, you want to get on that energy and try to take it out. Now these pillars explode in a clockwise direction. As you can see, it took out one of our members here. But when it's finna explode, you want to block and just wait for the explosion and then just keep on destroying it. Like I said, they explode in a clockwise direction, so you can see the timer of the pillar that's finna explode, and once you see it explode, boom, it'll move on to the next one. One thing to note is that after each phase, something will spawn. Whether it be a sub-boss that you haven't destroyed yet inside the tunnel, or it'll be ads, okay? So if you was to have 3 sub-bosses that you didn't kill inside their tunnel, after the first phase you'll get 1 sub-boss, the second phase the next, and third phase the last sub-boss. Now after the 4th phase you'll be getting ads since there's no more sub-bosses left, alright? That's just for example. Before I start talking about the Oppressor, which is out right now, another thing to note is that the first and second phase are always opposite of each other. So if you was to get the gel phase first, you'll get the pillar phase next, and vice versa. When you're leaving a sub boss out, you would want to have the gel phase first, and then the pillar phase, because the pillar phase is the time to burn the sub boss, because the main boss is in the bubble in the middle, and he's not attacking anybody. So you just have the sub boss all to yourself. None of your damage is splitting or anything like that. But the third phase and every phase after that is completely random. So once the third phase hit, you can have pillar phases non-stop for the rest of your fight in that final room. Alright, so on to the oppressor. As you just saw, he just did a beam attack. So after that beam attack, he does a charge. Alright, so he does a charge, and what you want to do is just get out the way, just like the Ravager from earlier. Just get out the way. His tail is very long, so you can get out of the way of his charge attack. Now after he does his charge attack, he will tuck his arms in, and then he'll like do a big swipe. So if anybody dies from that charge attack, I will wait before picking that person up, because like I said, after he's done doing that charge attack, he'll tuck his arm in and does like a big old swipe. Look like he's shouting a little bit. Right there is the animation of him putting people in a blue ball. As you can see, he stands up tall and raises his arms, and he shoots like a little dart, I guess, and whoever he is, he'll put that person in a blue ball. Now, there's no way of really escaping that blue ball. You just have to die. But the ways to avoid it really is just stay on the move, really. It's no like quantum tunneling at the last second. You know, I tried it plenty of times and I just failed and still end up dying inside the ball. Other than that, this boss fight is pretty simple. If your group is new to leaving sub bosses out, it's gonna take a few tries. I would highly recommend leaving the oppressor or the warrior out. Those two seem to be the easiest in my opinion. As you can see, he's doing the stun move right there. That means he's finna charge, so just get the hell out of there. As you can see, Polly barely missed it. Right here is the gel phase. Some people call it the prison or the timeout phase. It's the same thing. But usually what the Tyrant does, he will put 2 members of your group inside jail. Luckily right here, he only put King inside jail. He does that sometimes, so he puts the same person in jail twice. So you only have to get 1 person out of jail. Now if you get the gel phase at the beginning and you're leaving a sub boss out, go ahead and get both people out, just because you can speed up the phase and start the sub boss fight. But if you're just fighting the Tyrant, just get 1 person out. The only scenario where you'll need to get both people out if it's a tank and your solo healer. Now there is a feat for not taking anyone out of prison. Obviously we didn't get it here, but I'm just letting you guys know that there is a feat for not taking anyone out of prison. As this oppressor fight comes to a close, I'm just gonna let you guys know that I will be editing some of the Tyrant fight out, just because you guys don't want to see a whole bunch of pillar phases, you know, me destroying pillars and stuff like that. And this guy has a lot of health, and I think he healed once with the paradox energies, so just letting you guys know, edit a few parts out of the Tyrant fight. It's the same fight and everything, just edit a few parts out to make it shorter. This video is already half an hour long, so no need for you guys to watch unnecessary stuff. And plus the Tyrant is one of the easiest bosses out of the T5 raids. I'll say the easiest other than the first room in Nexus. Other than that, this guy is very easy. Now with the Tyrant, he has 3 attacks. He has a beam attack, a roll, and a move where he munches on your head. Now with the beam attack, it doesn't really hurt at all, especially if you have a tank. Now if you don't have a tank up at the moment, it starts hitting for like the high 1000s, you know. It starts hitting you for like 3 seconds, you know, eventually you'll die. That's the only bad part about the beam attack. It doesn't really hurt though if you have a tank up. The roll attack, now this is his most deadly attack. It wipes raid groups out, but the ways to avoid is just stay on the outskirts of the arena. You know, don't stay in the middle unless you're the tank. He rolls 5 times. So once you count the rolls, the 4th, then the 5th roll, he'll stop. And then the munch on the head, which is 90% of the time on the tank, so you don't have to worry about that. You know, this boss is very, very easy, like I said before. Also, be sure to kill the ads after each phase. The reason I say this is because sometimes the ads go to the middle and don't get aggroed. The worst thing that can happen is the tank and healer ends up going in jail, and your group members end up aggroing the ads trying to get the orbs to break you free from jail, and now you have basically half of your team wiping just because the ads weren't killed the last phase. I think I covered everything about this raid, guys. Oh, I forgot to mention that when you do fight sub bosses outside their tunnel, there will be no ads that spawn at the 75, 50, 25% mark. So you don't have to worry about ads, spawning, other than the ads spawning from the different phases. That's it. You can just burn the ball straight up. Not have to worry about ads spawning at the 75, 25 mark and stuff like that. Also, if you're locked on to a certain boss in these raids, there's sometimes a red shield blinking. Now when that red shield is blinking, you're like doing double damage, or either the defense is debuffed twice as much, so therefore either way you're doing more damage to that boss. I seen it earlier, I forgot to mention it. It's just something to let you guys know that that's the time when you want to pop your supercharges, bust out your trinkets and stuff like that, because they are taking more damage than what they usually are. Like I said, it's a red shield that's blinking. Alright, now I think I covered everything about this raid. If you find this video helpful, man, like it. If you know somebody that's still struggling with this raid, share it, let them know. Give them the link to this video. I appreciate it very much. I'm glad you even stayed this long throughout the video of watching. So now I'm gonna let you guys, watch the rest of the gameplay. Much of it is straightforward from here on out. You just fight the Tyrant, go through a few phases, eventually he'll die. It's nothing much more. Just watch out for the rolls, man. That's his biggest attack, and that's it, man. Hope you guys really like this video. Alright. like I said before, man, like this video if you liked it. Share this video to anybody that needs help with this raid, or just give them the link. You know, anything, man. Yeah, that's it, man. Side note, once the loot drops, sometimes there's a wave of ads that spawn. Just to let you guys know. But alright, man. You guys take care. Alright, peace.